Welcome to Everything Entrepreneurship The Podcast with me, Kyle Jerome Carter. I'm glad you're here, and there's no better way to start this off. There's no better way to start this new year off than a way to get you going, Um, a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm KJC, Kyle Jerome Carter. Full name, initials, doesn't matter. Pick one. Um, I've been in entrepreneurship 10 years. Solo, no job, 5 years. And yeah, constantly I'm having conversations, whether it be with new, aspiring, serial entrepreneurs, working professionals, just constantly talking about this to the point I live and breathe it, right? Now, am I the richest person in the world? No. Have I done every single thing in the world in business? No. However, entrepreneurship is a tough journey for everybody. From the person that's watching online, for the person that just hears about it, they know somebody that's making money, to having and running a sustaining and profitable business, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 figure businesses. So whether it's a client of mine or whether it's in just like a regular person, like an entrepreneur, I find myself having these conversations day in, day out, day in, day out. On top of that, 2025, I'm a marketer. I might as well make my own content. So what else? What better way to do that than to find what embodies me? Everything entrepreneurship. So on this podcast, on this channel, I'm basically going to be going in deep diving over everything that stops entrepreneurs and business owners. It doesn't matter if you have a fighting spirit. It doesn't matter if you're introvert, extrovert, if you take things practical, conceptual. I'm breaking down everything that stops people in their tracks or delays their success. You know, from the 6, 7 figure business owner that is having limiting beliefs to the person that's at their job and just wants more. I'm trying to go over the full gambit. This is primarily going to be a solo hosted podcast. However, if you check out my content, you'll see I truly do give a glimpse into my life, the businesses I impact, and the people bold enough to start the journey, i.e. the entrepreneurs. At the time of this recording, I have 2 pieces, day in the life interviews set that are already being chopped up and stuff like that to come out. Behind the scenes, I can always show you better than I can tell you. However, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, I'm going to convey this information. I've been down, been up, lost it, back down, came back up, felt good, felt bad. All of this isn't necessarily just my experience, but also what I've researched, what I've learned, what I've been helped with, what I've helped others through, what I've seen, what I've watched, what I've studied, all of it. So, am I perfect? No, but I'm passionate and know what I'm talking about. And in this episode, the topic that I'm going to cater around is goals, New year, new me. Fun fact, around the 17th of January, I think between 80 and 90% of people give up or just don't care about their New Year's resolution anymore. But as it pertains to business and entrepreneurship, how many goals have you actually accomplished that you set out to achieve? Now, if you're like most people, you're not going to be as proud of that number, but it's okay. Though, like I said, I have a deep dive video that'll be up on Wednesday, already recorded, in which I break this down and I go deep. I'm going in to every single aspect of what makes a goal, a great goal, the definition, the psychology behind it, what it's going to take for you to feel like doing the work, actually following through, executing and accomplishing your goal. This is going to be a little bit higher overview, although I will go in a little bit. But throughout this conversation, I'm going to give you the 6 things that you need to consider and understand, answer, and or know to have a good goal, right? So yeah, first podcast, like I said, I'm always talking to people, talking to business owners. So I'm not necessarily camera shy, but at the same time, I'm getting in my groove. So as you are here, if you're watching this when this drops and or in the early stages, you are a founding person of everything entrepreneurship, and I appreciate you. We're about to grow this thing up huge, and we're going to affect and be entrepreneurship's best kept secret until it can't be anymore. That's all I care about right now. So yeah, when we break down goals, I have my whiteboard, but again, this is a podcast. Some of you guys are only listening, so I'm going to try and keep this. I'm going to try and convey this the best I can without having to use visual references. However, everybody watching, especially if you're on like YouTube and stuff like that or whatever, let's get these downloads. If you like this, like it, subscribe, follow, whatever it is. Got to get used to those call to actions. Whatever. So a goal. New year, new you, everything entrepreneurship, and you're trying to set a goal. Whether you're new to business or whether you're a vet, there's 6 things you have to take into consideration. Number 1, and again, if you read this book, if you read that book, you're going to have a good understanding overall of what a goal is and the different methods people use, like SMART goals and stuff like that. That's cool. But in the video that I have for Wednesday, this is the last video you're going to need, and you're going to understand why. So bear with me until I get to the end. Now, when it comes to goals, the first 3 things that come to a goal, 2 are questions that you have to answer, and 1 is something you have to understand. First thing is, what do you want? And then by when? Most people, when they think about what do you want, let's start there first. I'm 7 minutes in. I'm slow rolling, going deep, but I still need to make sure you're with me, right? So, what do you want? Most people will say, set a realistic goal, right? And if you've been in business, you understand this more so than somebody that's trying to get into business or entrepreneurship, right? When we say, what do you want? What's your ultimate goal? Not what's a benchmark, what will be nice. What do you want? What is worth you working 10 to 10 instead of 9 to 5? What's worth the sacrifice? What's worth you going out above and beyond, creating something and bringing it to the free market and trying to convey that value so somebody pays you? What's actually worth it? So when I say, what do you want? I'm not asking what would be nice. I'm saying, what do you actually want? Now, does that mean, what's your retirement goal? It doesn't necessarily have to be that. But as it pertains to the business idea that you have or the business that you're in, what's your goal? Now, the catchy thing right now, regardless of if people can conceptualize it or not, is I want $1 million. I want my business to make me $1 million. I want to be a millionaire. Not knowing how taxes work, not knowing how to get $84,000 a month, not knowing a lot of things. But society has made that catchy term millionaire just pop out, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a healthy number. Don't get me wrong. But when we say, what do you want? If you first take a moment to say, you know what, this is the number I want, you need to make sure that's the actual number, right? When I have, whether it be like a consultation or I'm just talking to business owners or whatever it might be, and I say, what's your goal? Like, what do you want to achieve, right? They typically say something like, and it's always something where they want to double or triple what they're doing. It's never, we want to increase by 7%. It's okay, we want this crazy thing. Let's say a company is doing 2 million and they say they want to be doing 4 million. Okay, why 4 million? Why not 3.7? Why not 4.2? Why not 3.95 million? Like, what is that? Like, tell me, what is it that you want? So if we bring it down a little bit lower to the people that either are new to entrepreneurship or like just in that business that's making some money, maybe you're in that like $2,000 to $20,000 a month range, whatever it might be. Like, what do you actually want? And all of this stuff, I want you to actually write down. If you're driving, Don't write it down. I want you driving, focusing on that. Or jot it down if you can. I'm old school. I like pen and paper, even though I can't necessarily read my handwriting. It is what it is. I'm not going to stop. So when we say, what do you want? You have to have a solid understanding. What is it that is going to make this worth it? And I don't want you to put any thought as to how it's going to happen. Most people say be realistic, but that's not what we're doing here. After you figure that out, you need to understand by when. By when means that we're putting a date to it. We're saying, okay, cool. I don't just want this goal of to make $1 million. Let's just say Bill. Bill is the person, and Bill wants to make $100,000 from this new business, right? That's cool, Bill. You want to make $100,000, but when do you want to make it by? Most people, and again, these are the caveat, these are the golden nuggets that I'm talking about. Most people will say, you know what? Okay, cool. I'm not going to be realistic. I want to make $100,000, right? But I can't see myself doing it. So I'm just going to say, it's a new business. I want to make $100,000 from this new business in the next 5 years. No. See, that's fear. You can't have fear when making your goals. You can use fear in other instances, but when it comes, this is your time to dream. This is your time to say what you actually want. This is the time to go for it. So go for it. You know, most people, granted, I'm in my 30s now. Most people at my age forget how to dream. And it's all about just, okay, let me just keep it objective. What's realistic? And don't get me wrong. I understand why you're thinking that way. But for a goal that you're going to accomplish, you need to start with what you want, and you got to figure out when you want to buy. Do you want that $100,000 from your business that you're starting today, or that you just started last year to take another 5 years? Or do you want that? Do you want your goal to actually be within 12 months? By January 1st, 2026, I want this. If that's what it is, say what it is. There's a reason behind it, right? So if you know what you want and you know by when, and you answered both those questions, the last thing you need to understand is why. Why do you want that? Like, actually. Now, this part gets a little too deep for this video, and that's why, again, this is going to be so many different things. It's not even funny. I'm going to make sure that I go in like a fine-tooth comb and I just cover everything in Everything Entrepreneurship, or I wouldn't be living up to the name, right? When I say why, I'm asking because most people don't know what they want. Most people don't know why they want what they want either. If Bill wants to make $100,000 from his business and he knows he wants to do that by January 1st, why? Especially when it comes to aspiring and new entrepreneurs. Are you sure you're meant for entrepreneurship? That's actually the number one question or number one conversation I tend to have with people, and it ends up steering them away from entrepreneurship. Not because I'm anti-entrepreneurship, obviously I am pro it, but at the same time, I care about the individual. I'm never going to be this person to say, it worked for me, so it got to work for you. This is my way. You have to do it my way. The holistic approach to entrepreneurship is to take different aspects, what's worked, what doesn't work, why doesn't it work, study it. That might just be the market research and the marketer in me, but I don't think I could in good faith just tell somebody because I did it, you did it. And when we get to the crossroads of why in entrepreneurship, even if somebody quit their job and they've been an entrepreneur for a year, I've seen in many cases people answer that question and happily get a job and have a better understanding to say, you know what, maybe I didn't want entrepreneurship in that capacity, but you know what I do want? I want the stability. I want everything that comes with a 9 to 5, and I'll just create a side hustle, right? Live in Philly. We've got fire trucks, ambulance, police all the time. So, dang, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? So yeah, not everybody's meant for entrepreneurship. So when we answer that question why, or when you answer your question why, I want you to dig deep. You know, this part might seem insensitive, but most people don't know themselves. Most people don't like themselves. But as a grown adult, you should take the time, regardless of the past trauma you've had, to just sit down and say, you know what? Why does this make me happy? Why does this make me sad? Why do I like this? Why do I not like that? Why do I want my life to be this way? Why do I want to? And again, this the part that people don't understand. Starting a business means you're serving other people. You're providing value in exchange of money, like for something else. Like you're signing up for that. You're not signing up for the 4-hour work week. You're not signing up for, I'm just going to sit back, sip on a mojito or something like that. Like you're building a business. And if you're building a business, you need to respect it. Now, granted, there's a lot of people that can just retire young. They can make so much money. They can provide so much value that people buy. But in this instance, your why is so important. I always hearken it back to a vehicle. You're going to notice that I'm never going to just say, because I'm in marketing, like, yo, you need to start a marketing agency. I'm never going to be the person to say that unless I feel from what I know and from what you've told me that that's for you. There's so many different methods. I'm not providing a vehicle. I'm providing fuel to that vehicle. Throughout everything entrepreneurship, and I aim to convey throughout my brand and my experiences with people in different fields and industries, that this is how you overcome every single obstacle, whether it be mental or not, that we face day in, day out. Sometimes you're on top of the world. Sometimes you're like, why am I doing this? If you got to pay employees and not pay yourself, it's a roller coaster. And the roller coaster can be so much more pleasant if you know how to navigate it. So in this instance, everything entrepreneurship is going to be the answer and the steps, both practical and conceptual, to all the things that you are going to encounter along the entrepreneurship journey, right? So let's say Bill has a real reason why. So Bill knows, okay, cool. This is what I want. This is when I want it by. And this is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for good reasons, right? The next thing he needs to understand, and again, the seasoned entrepreneurs understand this better than the new ones, time. Things take time. I can't take credit for this next part, but everything has a gestation period. For example, a seed has a gestation period of a couple months, a couple weeks, depending on what it is. A baby, the gestation period is 9 months. Your business, we don't know. Whether it's this goal that you have, and let's say you're making $9,000 a month and you have a goal that monetarily ends up being $12,000 a month, it might take you time to achieve that, more time than you expect. It could happen in a couple weeks. You could implement something and you can actually be able to handle the capacity, and that happens next day. But we don't know that. All we can do is the work. So you have to have a proper expectation when setting your goals that it can happen by that time, but it also cannot. But it's the accumulation of the small things that you do and the intention behind it that help make that thing happen. And again, it's these different pieces working together that really sets apart a good goal from a bad goal, from a great goal, right? So you have to take into consideration and be comfortable knowing this is what I want. It can take time, but it's okay. We need everything to happen yesterday. Somebody hits me up, yo, KJC, I need this. KJC, I need that. KJC, my business needs this. I guarantee if you could have had it yesterday, you would have had it. But that's not how things work. So whether it's something big, something small, not necessarily just a goal, having an understanding of time. Time is huge. You can't sleep on that. Now, whereas we were talking about time, the next part, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to number 5. You can write down a goal. You can set a date. You can take a deep breath and make a commitment that you're going to be patient. The next part, and this is the word of the year, at least I hope it is. The word of the year is frequency. And when it comes to number 5 for your goal, you need to turn up your frequency, right? Again, I'm not going to go too deep right now, but if you know anything about how everything can just sound like vibrations, and like everything is a vibration, right? And law of attraction states, don't take my word for it like verbatim, but law of attraction states you attract what's on your frequency. If the person that Bill needs to be to make $100,000 by January 1st, 2026 requires Bill to go from here to here, then that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to be that person. He's going to have to get in that mind space. He's going to have to truly just understand, I need to be this person. I can be this person. I am this person. And one of the best ways to raise your frequency, I'm not going to say just meditate, but to just think about it. Hold it in your mind. Get a mental image of exactly who it is you want to be, where you want to be, and what it's going to be like when you attain it. And again, I'm not taking credit for any of this stuff. Most of this stuff, I'll tell you when it's a KJC gym, like, oh, I came up with this. This is fire. You read enough books, you pay for enough classes, you get enough help, you help enough people, and this stuff tends to make sense, right? But you need to change your vibration. In other words, you need to truly like understand what it would feel like to do that. Because when you feel that, you're going to notice different opportunities around you. By raising your frequency, by raising his frequency, Bill can then say, you know what? It might take some big opportunities for me to get this $100,000, this goal, but I'm gonna raise my frequency and I'm just gonna attract them. You know, the person that does these type of deals, hits this type of goal, they wake up early, they do this, they treat this right, they make sure that they do this, do that. Like, that's what it takes when I say raise your frequency. You need to have a mental image. You have to think about it. You have to think what it's going to be like for that, right? Prime example, poster number 1. I love my posters. These are all my posters, by the way. Not my quotes, but my posters. Poster number 1, burn the ships. A man by the name of Hernan Cortez, Spanish conquistador. One of the main things that he did when he picked his crew was talking to them, asking them, yo, what's it going to be like when we get this treasure? The treasure was in the Yucatan Peninsula, I believe, in South America. And nobody was able to conquer that for like, I think, hundreds of years. And he was so bold because he was trying to make his name for himself as a conquistador. He said, yo, I'm gonna get this treasure, but I'm gonna take a different method than other people did. I'm not just gonna go in there. I'm just gonna guns blazing because everybody died that way. I'm gonna need the right crew, and I'm gonna need to be able to get this crew to be on the right frequency to pull this through, right? And when he was picking the people, we'd have conversations, really get them focused and like just having a mental image of what it would be like, what their kids' lives would be like, what it would be like when they get back home to Spain from the boat, saying that we got this, you know. And raising that vibration allows you to do what you need to do, not like conquer. I'm not talking about that, but as it pertains to your goal, or in this instance, an entrepreneurship for your business, whatever it may be, right? And then lastly, and again, check out the video, comes out Wednesday. I go much deeper in each and every one of these parts. The last part is set it and forget it. If that's your goal, right? And this is where I say this, it's a different take than other people. Most people are going to say you need to be realistic. Boom, 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 boom. That's cool. And you can. But right here, right now, we get big things done. We got big goals. I don't know many people that when I say, what do you really want? What they really want is something small. Since you got big goals, it takes big stuff. We got big stuff. In order to actually get it, so the first 3 things are clarity. If you notice that, what do you want, by when, and why give you a sense of clarity, right? Understanding time gives you understanding. And when we raise frequency, you're aligning yourself for that to happen, right? Now, when I say set it and forget it, I'm saying this is when the realistic benchmarks come in. Not that those benchmarks have to be achieved by a certain time, but rather these are inputs and activities. These are the inputs and activities that we're going to do to make sure that we get this goal. If Bill has this type of business and the inputs and activities require him writing a blog post every single day, then you know what? He's going to go above and beyond. He's not just going to write a blog post. He's going to review other blog posts. He's going to learn more about that topic. So these blog posts are better, and he's going to meet that quota. So he can eventually do the little things that add up to the big goal, right? If his inputs and activities require him making a certain amount of calls, he's not just going to think it's a numbers game and just make some calls. He's going to go above and beyond, figure out exactly what is the list that he needs to source so that he can figure out what are the best quality calls. And he's going to not just say, you know what, I want to make 100 calls. He's going to say, I want to make 20 great conversations. Because there's going to be people, if you know anything about cold calls, that are going to hang up, that are going to just get you off the phone, say that you got to leave a message, not there, stuff like that. Aim for conversations. Because by doing that, you're detaching yourself from that date and time. Because we have an understanding and we've raised our frequency, we are now acting as the person that needs to do what they need to do so that when the opportunity comes, they're more than prepared. You know, a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot, or they get presented with the thing and anxiety takes them out and they lose it. And I don't want that to be you. That's not going to be you. Actually, you're going to get it. I believe in you because you're here listening to me and watching this, right? So set it and forget it. You've written down what you want. You wrote down by when. You took a moment to think about why. You pondered on it and you understand that it's going to take time. And now you're focusing on yourself to raise your frequency so you can attract what you want. Now it takes doing the work. I got so many topics, man. Oh my goodness. I could just keep on throwing out phrases. If I could just make videos and just help you guys all the time. That's what I'm doing, man. That's why I'm making this. I'm trying to help some people, you know what I mean? So the inputs and activities are the little things that are gonna build over time. And again, low level, high level. You gotta understand, you gotta show up every day. The same way I said it takes time as a gestation period, you got to show up every single day for your business. You got to show up every single day for your business idea. You're not going to feel like it sometimes. However, this is going to show up. This is going to be the energy you have when you don't feel like it. Because in the back of your mind, you're going to say, you know what? Though I don't feel like it, I can do it. I can still do it. And because I can do it, and because I'm raising myself to that frequency, I'm going to do it. And that's when you outperform the person that just says, you know what, it's cold out. I'm tired. Oh man, I already did this. I don't need to do another one. About to take it to the next level. So the 6 things you got to do. What do you want? By when, why, time, frequency, and then inputs and activities. And I promise you, this is the proper way to set out your goals in 2025. Like it really is. Easier said than done, but that's why you just got to do it. And that's another reason why I have it. If you're anybody that's bought a course, paid for coaching, consultation, you're going to find most people are going to tell you just do it. And granted, I think there's probably like 2-3% of people that have the steadfastness, that have just the mind to just take what somebody says, not care about rejection, failure, and just will do it until it works. But most people aren't like that. And if you're like most people, saying just do it isn't good enough. Like, you told me just do it. And if the person stays around long enough to do it, cool, they get it. But that's not everybody. So we're going to make these goals happen, man. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this podcast. I'm excited about my content, man. I got some great conversations. Like I said, this is dropping Monday. Wednesday, or should I drop that Friday? I really want to drop these. I got these day in the life interviews with entrepreneurs and business owners that I like and respect. Where I spend the day with them, you know? I always say I could show you better than I can tell you. I could show you better than I can tell you. I could show you better than I can tell you. And there's so many different ways to do it. There's people that quit their job and been making, I never even had a job and just started their own thing. Got people that are working jobs and turn side hustles into a full profit and could leave their job if they wanted to, but just choose not to because they don't want to. There's no pressure over here. There's pressure to do the work. I'm going to hold you accountable, but I'm never going to tell somebody, screw that job, quit that job, man. It's all about you, It's about you, what you want to do, and life's short. That's why, again, I'm happy my content's coming out. I'm happy for, got some projects coming out this year. It's going to be a big year, A lot of people were reflecting back on 2024 and saying it was a bad year, how it kicked their butt and stuff like that, which is true. But I don't even think my butt getting kicked means it's a bad year. But I'm a little weird like that. This is episode 1. You're going to get to know Kyle Jerome Carter. So I'm of the belief, and don't get me wrong, I'd be sad sometimes. I'd be upset sometimes. But you got to count it all joy, We're in this for a reason. Life is short. And if you ask anybody around me, they'll tell you every single day, even if it seems like it's problem on top of problem on top of problem, deadlines not being done, people upset, I'll keep saying, I'm excited that I got the opportunity to go get it, over here in America. And I think, what was the song? Or a quote, somebody said, ain't nothing American about being broke. We got this freedom over here, might as well use it and not complain. So, though you will hear me complain sometimes, I'm doing what I love every day. That's what life's about, And if I can help some people out along the way, that's what I'm doing. So, Everything Entrepreneurship, this is the podcast. I'm finishing up the prerequisite, which is obviously, or not obviously, but that is everything that they don't tell you about. This is the proper expectation and introduction to entrepreneurship for the people that didn't get that. I know I didn't get that. I thought entrepreneurship, now granted, this was a decade ago, like I said, I want to be an entrepreneur, and now it's just, the barrier of entry is so low right now. Oh man, that stepped up and say, I'm making a prerequisite. Not that you need this, but everybody's going to take and be like, oh my goodness, this is so useful. I wish I had this. Veterans, I've not necessarily shown, but conveyed what's in it. I've even shown a couple people what's in it. These people have been in business like almost longer than I've been alive. And they're like, golly, this is useful. You know what I mean? So building out these assets and then putting together a community too. So I'm going to have some links down there. Check out my links, whether I'm asking for your email, whatever it may be. You are going to be a founding person in this Everything Entrepreneurship community. And I appreciate you. We're going to make this thing big. We're going to look back at this first episode and be like, golly, I'm glad I got on then. So if you're an entrepreneur or if you like entrepreneurship, make sure you share this with somebody else. I want them to hear this too. You guys are both going to have some great goals. We're all going to have some great goals, but we're going to execute and we're going to follow through and achieve them too. I really don't care about it's so cool to have a goal. I want you to follow through, and I want you to have it, because if you're a good person, if you're not a good person, you don't deserve it. But if you're a good person, you deserve it. But yeah, first episode short, 33 minutes. Might be a little bit less after I edit it, whatever, maybe. But yeah, I'm Kyle Jerome Carter. Like, subscribe, share, check me out. Instagram, I'm kyle.jerome.carter. Do my little soft plugs. And yeah, until the next time, I'm out.